Hey, everybody, welcome to the Real Outer Belt Podcast. I'm Patrick, and you all know my friends.
Chili.
Buttermilk.
Eric.
Zucchini bread.
And Jerry.
And I'm Patrick. That's not how that works, is it?
It worked this time, though.
It does,
just
doesn't
weird.
it?
Yeah.
I should just be like, welcome to the show, and then not say who I am.
Right.
I should be last.
You should be last.
Heart of a servant.
Yes, exactly.
The
heart
servant
of
is
a servant.
last.
Servant is last.
Can I wash your feet?
Yes, please.
We don't have a vessel.
Well, you are the servant. Go get a vessel.
Touche. We don't have a vessel healer. I'll have to go to Walmart.
All right. Well,
And that's so far away.
so
The
far
thing is, I
away.
need a boat vessel to get to that vessel.
Exactly. Maybe a Mayflower.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you know I heard a joke?
Did you?
I did.
I'm listening.
I don't remember it.
April flowers.
April flowers bring May
flowers.
showers.
Oh,
Right.
Lord.
And how does your garden grow?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
All right, Mary.
with cockle bells.
That was funny. That was a funny joke.
It was great. Thank
That
you.
was
I
great.
appreciate it.
Oh.
Did you know that Mary had a little lamb?
Its fleece was white as snow.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard a comedian once. They were talking about like how Christopher Walken can say everything funny, and he was like, "Can you imagine if Christopher Walken said that? Like, Mary had a little lamb, whose fleece was white as snow," and like the whole crowd died. But he can actually do a Christopher Walken
Right.
impression.
Yeah.
I
Yours
think
was,
that could be
um,
what made the
It
difference.
could be.
I
Yeah.
try. I really do. Sometimes it's a swing and a miss, and sometimes it's a swing and it actually should have been just a ball, and I should have just held it
It's
there.
a swing. It's a foul ball.
But you
Yeah.
could every now and then I get a nice punt in.
Now you're mixing metaphors.
What?
You're mixing metaphors.
I thought baseball you punted.
No, that's basketball.
No, it's not.
Are you sure?
It's football.
So in basketball, you swing?
You shoot.
No,
you
that's
score.
the that's
You
the
bunt.
That's the biathlon.
You bunt,
You
not punt,
Punt.
in baseball.
Oh, punting
yes,
is
you bunt in
what's
Punting.
punting.
Basketball.
That's with
is
football.
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 Yes.
Oh,
Bunting is with the baseball.
I thought bunting was the stuff they put around the stands, like during playoff games, the red, white, and blue. That's called bunting, right?
Might
Baby
be.
bunting.
What?
Well, now that we've lost our entire audience,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. I think
Leave-
they're
leave a
still all
comment.
here. They're all still here with us because they're like, where is this gonna go?
it's gonna
Can
get.
it get any more off the rails?
It could.
Yeah, it could.
It could. It could be like
Good.
that trestle that burned down.
Jim Tressel, he was the head coach of Ohio State football at one point.
He was.
Yeah.
So was Urban Meyer.
Yeah, he was.
He was.
Yeah.
And now I think all he's good for is the Pint House in downtown Dublin.
That's who Urban Meyer is?
Yes.
Seriously?
The old
I thought he was
coach.
like a clothing maker or something.
No, you're thinking of
Urban Outfitters.
No,
Yeah, that makes sense.
you're thinking of Leslie Jordan.
Who?
No, you're thinking of
I
what's
recently
the guy's?
went to the Urban Meyer Pint House recently.
Yes, but the
But I thought it was a clothing store thing.
no, it's all the hospital. All the hospitals around here are
Wexner?
Carmel?
Wexner, who is the clothing line
yes.
person.
Wexner.
Yes,
What?
Wexner. He owned
So
Limited.
Victoria's Secret,
Limited.
Limited,
Express.
the Limited 2,
Yeah.
Express.
I
He
didn't know these
owned
things.
Banana Republic.
Banana Republic. Did he?
I don't know.
You should- We're just naming
It
things.
fit into that group.
Sears, Roebuck and Company. No, I'm
so
kidding.
Urban Meyer is a Ohio
ooh.
player?
No,
No.
he was a former Ohio State football head coach.
He might have been a player.
Oh,
He
head
may
coach.
have been.
He was
I don't
definitely
know.
a player. I think he's on his fourth or fifth
Well, that
wife.
makes sense why their motif is now the way it is. Jeez,
Wow.
that all makes sense as to why it was.
Was there a lot of football stuff?
There
in
was, and
there?
it was.
Oh.
It was
the
very
sports
red and
TV,
gray.
and it was very
Ah,
Buckeye-esque,
okay.
and
There was a can of beer somewhere.
or on tap. Yes.
Well, they got a big hops tower out front, don't they?
It's
They
very.
do,
It,
yeah.
They do a lot of IPAs.
Yeah.
So
Well, congratulations. Isn't he the scandalous one?
who?
Urban Meyer.
There's a bunch of scandalous ones.
That's true.
so.
We got to go
We
back
don't
and just
know. We're not accusing Urban Meyer of being scandalous. We don't know.
No, but we will say, look at that girl, so scandalous.
Right. We will.
That was a joke if you
Yeah.
are familiar with the famous 1990 song.
By Cisco.
Yes.
not the food service provider.
and not Crisco.
Jeez.
All right. So how's everybody been?
It's been doing good, but real quick, a word from our sponsor, Jerry.
We have a sponsor tonight.
OTR Services.
I love that we never know who's sponsoring it until he tells us.
Right? It's
We
always a
literally
surprise.
we back bill,
Yeah,
so
we
like
do.
we don't
Yeah.
even know. I'm like who am I writing the
I remember
invoice
when
out to?
Zest used to not sponsor us.
Who?
Well, he is the
Zest.
producer. That would be his gig.
Oh, Zest did quit
They
sponsoring.
did.
No,
they
they
never.
never sponsored.
They never did, but we tried.
We
We
tried.
did.
Yeah, but this one
Yeah.
actually pays.
Yeah. So OTR
So we love
Services.
them. They're great. Yes, OTR
do they do?
Services. And that's our sponsor of the day. We want to thank OTR Services for all they do. If you need to get your carb tested,
Your car.
if you need to get a carb test, please reach out to OTR-services.com. That's OTR-services.com. One more time, it's OTR-services.com. You can fill out the little form there on the website and set it up, and they'll have a tech come out to you and perform that service right at your truck stop here in the Columbus, Ohio area. So I want to thank them again for sponsoring today's video and podcast. So, no, I think what we've been trying to get to is it's wet. It has been raining all day. I
All
mean,
day.
all
All
day. I mean,
Every day.
all day, though. So, like, one thing, when I moved up here from South Louisiana, I'm from South Louisiana. Y'all were like,
Wait, you're from Louisiana.
I'm from South Louisiana. I went to college in New Orleans.
Does it rain there?
It does. So, in South Louisiana, we get rain that literally starts in the middle of the night and it ends in the middle of the night 3 days later. So, like, we are used to Jerry. You grew up in that area. You spent some time in Mississippi, Hattiesburg,
Yep.
and you spent some time in Florida. So you know, like, an all day, like, it just rains and doesn't stop. It doesn't storm. It's not particularly windy. It just rains forever, right?
Florida, you can pretty much set your clock by the rain.
And so that's what I'm so used to. And we moved up here. And have y'all noticed, like, Ohio is very much a storm place.
Oh yeah.
Like, we don't get long, basic rain.
no.
No.
We get real quick microburst of storm, and an hour later it's gone.
Yeah.
And then you can continue with your life.
Or sometimes 10 minutes later it's gone.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
can't blow
You
through
know,
quickly.
Blows through fast and
Yeah, it's could be circular sometimes.
Mhm.
Those aren't good. But it's just real quick. This is absurd. It just doesn't do this. It just feels like South Louisiana all of a sudden, where it's just like constant rain
Yeah.
and not even bands.
No. Well, did you ever look at the radar today and how much it went up into like Canada, and it just was this big ugly, and it just kept swirling. Yesterday's storm system that we had, which was the brief storms that you were talking about,
Mhm.
was traveling east,
Bound and down.
southeast to northwest, which our storms don't typically
That's
normally
rare,
go
yeah.
that way. But that's the way yesterday's little, like you said, microbursts were traveling. And then today I see that whatever's lingering on us just kind of came down from Canada, scooped down to maybe Louisville, and then just circled back around, went right back up to Canada, and came right back down on us. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, that's just a weird airflow we got going on.
Well, I
It
s-
just kept it over us all day.
I saw there's two like competing storms in the area,
Yeah.
and it's created a stagnant front.
Yep.
And because of that, it's just
Holding the rain here.
holding the rain here.
By
So-
competing storm, you mean the other one was in like the Arizona area?
Yes, yeah. These are huge systems, and
Well,
it looks
wide
like
apart.
the country has eyeballs. It's crazy.
Yes, it does.
So the last time I remember something like this happening and it being particularly impactful, I was still down in Louisiana, or we were still down in Louisiana, I should say, and hadn't moved to Ohio yet. It was so much rain, it flooded like a good chunk of Baton Rouge, the Florida parishes as we call them, which is your the parishes is a county in Louisiana. We call them parishes because the church and all. But if you ever take like I-12 through Louisiana,
Yeah.
I-12 is built exclusively on the Florida parishes. So little geography for you real quick, a little history. That section of Louisiana used to actually be a part of Florida.
Oh,
So when we bought the Florida from the Spanish, we got that, and then New Orleans and everything east, not everything, but a good chunk of Louisiana west of the Mississippi River was part of the Louisiana Purchase. When you're going with those top section of North New Orleans, I don't know, north of Lake Pontchartrain in New Orleans, that was all part of Florida. So so obviously so was like that Mobile, Alabama, and
Yeah.
Biloxi and all that
Wow.
stuff was all Florida back in the day. But I'm talking like 200 years ago, back when Jerry was a young man. And
if you're paying attention, you'll still see a sign on I-10 saying something about the Florida Republic.
yep, I think that's I-12. That section of interstate's the
Or
Florida
I-12.
Republic. Yep.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
So it's something to look for if you're ever on 10 and 12.
absolutely that,
Going through the South.
and just find some food because that section right there is littered with really really good establishments. And here's a good hint: if you've heard of it before, don't go there. Just go somewhere you never heard of. Like if you see a old, worn out, tired looking, beat to hell building that's named Gabe's, give it a shot. It's really good. Get the gumbo. Yeah, so down there we had two storms came head to head, and it flooded a ton of that area. And they ended up blaming, I think, a lot of it, Eric, if I'm not mistaken, on the interstate, right? Like they built a brand new interstate and put up a giant solid median wall. What do you call that? Like a divider down the middle.
right?
But the wall is like 6 foot tall. It's this huge thing, and they didn't put enough not vents, but drain holes through it, and so it basically
Correct.
acted like a dam and
It
dammed up all that water.
Completely separated North I-12 from South I-12. Any rain in North couldn't flow through
Yep.
towards the Gulf.
So what
What flooded the entire area.
Yeah, what happened is all those drainage ditches and little canals filled up, and once they filled up, then they hit against that artificial dam that they
So-
essentially built, and it
Trying
couldn't.
to send flood water through a funnel.
Yeah, just couldn't get enough out of there.
Wow.
It was crazy because my parents' neighborhood, it was like 92% of their neighborhood flooded, and they were on the 8% that didn't. But my dad was actually, you see, in a flooding situation, you can actually see where the hills and valleys of a flat neighborhood are because
Right.
that area of Louisiana is flat. It is flat. In his little area, his little corner of the street, you could see where the embankment was, so to speak. But I mean, we're talking 2 inches, like just enough, right? And he was on an island. He was stranded there for several days until the water subsided. So we got my sister and my mom got out early enough that wasn't a problem for them, but he was stuck, and we couldn't get to my grandparents either. Like they
Wow.
were stuck. So it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like that area of Louisiana, you would think floods all the time, but it's not. It's not. None of those places are flood zones. None of them are.
Just got to get the right weather system going.
Yep, and it's those two fronts that just come up against each other, which is what we're going through right now. So we keep an eye on the river here in Ohio because never know. It just flooded too. That's what's crazy. How's your neighborhood holding up? Is it any deep water or is it?
No deep water in the
Green, lush
neighborhood.
grass,
No, green
We've had-
grass.
a pair of geese, and
Couple of ducks.
are they a pair? Have you seen both?
I thought we saw both the other day. I know I've seen both
Male, female?
male, female. I thought we saw both the male, female the other day.
I only saw the female with the geese, like
Okay.
she was lost.
I saw my first
is
family
unusual.
of babies this afternoon.
Oh, baby
Oh.
geese.
That was so cute, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think ours are lost. We've been there 3 years and we've never seen large fowl. No ducks, no geese. They were in the cul-de-sac laying down,
Huh.
right?
So
Yeah.
they think they're on a river or something. They're
I'm not sure what they're
I don't
thinking
know.
out there.
I think they just didn't want traffic to go through.
Probably.
Like I had to
yeah.
yell at them out the
Oh, well,
window to not move. So I
that
could
didn't
drive
work.
around 'em.
That didn't work out on Sawmill. I saw a nice.
Just hang
Yeah.
it.
Oh
no.
yeah, the
One
Splat.
check their own
yeah.
hands, wings
Oh, but
into
that-
their life.
But that is annoying. They do not. They are the most disrespectful birds.
Mhm.
These geese, these Canadian geese, and I'm not I'm not trying to get geopolitical. I'm just saying what they are. They will just walk across the road like they own it.
Yes.
And they will bring a 4-lane with a suicide lane road to a dead stop.
With their
And if you're and if you're not paying
with their entourage of babies.
it's never 2 of them. It's always like a school, like they're on a field trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm amazed there's not more carcasses of geese around. Honestly,
Which begs to differ. Where do these geese die? Where do geese go to die?
Canada.
They go back home.
They
Yeah,
go
they go
back
back
to
home.
Canada for the health care, and
Anyways, we had deer in the backyard today. I noticed that. I was on the phone
Cool.
a little earlier, and I was walking around the house. Just I do that when I talk. I talk and walk.
pace.
And I looked out my back. Exactly, pace picante.
So do you walkie-talkie?
I do walkie-talkie, and I was looking in the backyard, just sad because the rain. I mean, like, I guess we need it, but sad. And I just saw like 2 little deer, just actually not 2 little deer, 1 little deer, 1 big deer, just like cuddled up together in the grass. And I was like, oh, well, look at that. Then I finished my conversation.
You should have the ones here. I guess we have a few months left before they start birthing. But
Yes.
I'd say for the last 3-4 years, you've had a consistent mama
And they were in that same.
having babies down in the thicket
Yep.
of things down by the river.
We run a maternity ward.
Yes, they do.
For deer. So
Last year was 2
I wish we could.
babies.
It'd be nice if we could hunt, right? Because we could get some killer smoked venison going on, make some jerky.
Compared to Oregon, they're so tiny here, so I don't really look at them as meat.
Oh, but I thought smaller meant that they would be like
Maybe
more tender.
yours are eating green grass.
They are eating grass. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, except for that corn that Vince puts down every year. By the So, anyways, no. So it's been interesting. It is nice how green everything turned all of a sudden. Today I was driving through Dublin and Hilliard, and I was just admiring, like, oh, it's green again. It's so nice.
I think when the rain comes, everything's more vibrant.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It like puts a little polish on it.
Yep.
Like your car doesn't look faded. It's like, oh, look, it's like nice and
It looks
This is
clean
what it would-
until
this-
it dries.
this is what it would look like if we waxed it, like
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
I drove up to Medina today. I saw deer along the side of the road, and it was very green and beautiful.
When you saw them on the side of the road, were you like, stay there, stay there, stay there, stay
I
there?
was, yes, I was. And they were also behind some K-rail, it's a construction zone.
Oh yeah.
They're behind the K-rail, and I'm like, you just want to jump that thing, don't you?
Oh, so badly.
You just want to jump that thing. Don't you do it. You just stay right where you are.
Do you find that your deer spotting abilities have greatly increased since you've been a driver?
Mine certainly have, because I never saw deer when I was growing up in
Well,
the city.
In the city, I'm not sure they have deer there.
They don't.
Yeah. What about you, Jerry? You
Oh,
grew
for
up in
sure.
the country.
Yeah.
So say especially the night driver looking for little white dots in the night.
Yep.
I was about to say
Eyeballs.
that. I'm sure Don can spot them way better than I can.
Yeah.
I love
I grew
to.
up in the country, so we saw them all the time.
I did too. So
I guess it's like down in South Louisiana. We're driving through those parts. I can spot alligators, and most people are like, "What?" And it's like, "All right, let me stop and pull over and look there." And like, "Oh my gosh, it's an alligator!" It's like, yeah. It is funny. Like when you talk to people when they go down south, and they're like, "We were in Louisiana. We never saw any alligators," and I'm like, "They were there.
oh yeah.
You just because you can't
Yeah.
see. You just see 2 little eyes and maybe a snout."
Growing up in South LA, we spotted different things. And people were like, really? Yep.
You were like, "See that over there? Heroin needle. Don't touch it."
Well, what's that? That's a crack pipe. But what's that holding it? Well, we don't talk about that.
That's funny. Oh, man. Well, let's get to work. Let's get to business. Let's get this show going on the road. Vince, we got some exciting news coming along that I
do.
am scared and excited about and
I am too.
terrified and thrilled about.
I'm scared it's going to cause all kinds of problems.
And you know what? It affects me because when I get back, I've got to do this immediately.
So, starting on June 23rd, certified medical examiners will be required to submit all commercial vehicle driver medical exam results directly to the FMCSA and state drivers licensing agencies through the National Registry of Certified Medical Examiners. The results of the exams must be submitted by midnight of the calendar day following the exam per the rule. So what this means in theory is that when you go get a medical exam and you finish the exam, whether you pass or fail, the the medical examiner will submit that electronically to the FMCSA and your state driver's license agency, whether it's the BMV here in Ohio or the DMV in California or whatever they call it in the state you live in.
OMV.
OMV. There you go. Somewhere it's the state. Never mind. I forget.
State licensing department or something.
No, it's like the county clerk, but not the county clerk. What do they call it? It's division in every state, but they don't generally don't handle that stuff. But in this state, they do.
County assessor?
No.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
We were OMV in Louisiana.
yeah, we were DMV in California.
We're BMV in Ohio.
Yep.
Jerry, anything unusual?
DMV.
DMV.
The bureau, the office, the department.
Yeah. Heather, you had.
I'm pretty sure it was DMV.
Okay. All right. Well, we settled that. Here's my concern with that. Right. So what that means is that they'll submit it electronically, and the driver will then not have to go to their state office, whatever you want to call it,
To self-certify.
to self-certify. Yes, Jerry?
I had a question. Can you clarify, is this just the certificate or is this the long form?
I believe
Oh,
it's
the
everything.
It's everything.
I believe it's everything.
How are they getting around HIPAA?
Oh.
Well, so because you have to, because then I guess they're saying this, the CDL person would generally have to bring that to the state anyways, right? Like,
No,
We just bring
the long form
card.
is never turned in because of HIPAA.
it may not be the long form.
It may not
It
be.
may not be.
Okay.
So you get a
It says
copy.
medical exam results.
So just the certificate.
Yeah, it looks like it is just a certificate.
So certificates go on to FMCSA in your local Department of Motor Vehicles.
And why are you concerned?
It's the medical examiner certification integration rules. So I think it is just the certificate.
Yep. Okay.
So the FMCSA is suggesting you continue to carry your paper certificate up until the June 23rd deadline, and then also beyond that. That's where my concern is what happens if things don't go quite right, and you don't have it. I would suggest even calling your state driver's license association, administration, whatever they call it here, and make sure that they've received it, so you're not temporarily disqualified by your carrier for not having that on file, right?
Absolutely. So, like, my concern was exactly what you're saying. I will be gone the first few days of June, and my medical card, because I have a CDL, is due, I think, June 6th, I want to say it is.
Okay.
So when I come back, I'm going to immediately go get my medical card
Right.
done. Then I'm going to bring it straight to the the Bureau
Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Right.
here in Ohio, and I will give it to them, pay the $5 fee, because I'm doing it right then and there, and it will be updated in that system
Immediately. Yeah.
And so
we have that luxury,
Yeah,
right?
so
Since we're local here,
correct.
we're not over the road. We can go straight to the BMV and get it taken care of. Yes, they
Yes.
charge you $5 doing it in person versus emailing it where it's free. But if you email it, it can take 14 days.
Yes, exactly. So I'll be good to go basically immediately.
Sure.
But I am wondering, with this system, is that going away? So will you be able to take your medical card that you just got and bring it to the state, or no, you're subject to that 14
That's
days?
a very good question. So a paragraph further down says, according to the FMCSA website, states including Maryland, Minnesota, Utah, and Texas have already started implementing the new rule. From March 23rd to June 23rd, Texas will accept both paper medical certificates and electronic submissions to the National Registry. After June 23rd, Texas will only accept medical certificates submitted electronically through the National Registry.
They don't want you in their offices clogging up space.
Or they're trying to get rid of fraud.
Plus, they make appointments. Texas is an appointment only.
They are.
So that could cut down on quick
Mm-hmm.
5-minuters if it's a forced. Somebody else has to do it. That makes sense.
Well, it seems like if it's going electronically this way too, then it should be updated automatically immediately
It
as
should.
well.
That's what I'm
However,
thinking.
Or at least 24 hours,
It
not a
says
14
the-
days.
there isn't any
So
comment
only
here or note
concern,
here.
it says that it has to be done by midnight the day that you have it done.
The
so
next business day.
by the next business day? Okay. So that would be the only thing is if the facility doesn't do their part, that could slow that down a little bit.
Well, I think they get in trouble if they don't. But that means that I show up at
Right.
8 a.m. at my office. I get my physical done. 9 a.m. I'm done. I got my paper copy to keep my wallet. I'm good to go.
Right.
It could be midnight the next day before they actually process it. So they have 30, 40, 38 hours, something
Yeah,
like 36
makes
Well,
hours.
if you have it happen on, if you get your test on a Friday, the next business day is until Monday. So
Yep.
they've got till midnight Monday to submit it.
Sure, but even to
Even if you email
well,
it,
you're right. Like even
it's
if you,
going to be that long
yeah,
for those of us that aren't.
Yeah, because
Sure, I
the
understand.
Getting it done
DMV's
where
not
you
opening
want it.
until
Yeah.
Monday anyway. So here's a couple of things as a recruiter and dealing with the carriers that we have. It is quicker if you go in and do your self-certification with your DOT physical. It makes the process of getting approved by a carrier, at least the two carriers that we do business with, go quicker, as opposed to emailing it or submitting it through an email of some sort per your DMV's instructions. So I am curious as well, how immediate is it in our 48 states uploading DMV process? My other question is can you take your own certificate down and will the DMV still permit that?
Well, in Texas,
Texas-
they won't.
Texas
Okay.
won't.
Okay, so I want to correct something I just said. Results of the exams must be submitted by midnight of the calendar day following, not business day.
Okay.
So if you do it on a Friday, it has to be
Okay.
submitted by midnight Saturday.
Okay.
Well-
And then secondly, make sure you get all your paperwork from your DOT physical because sometimes carriers ask you to send in the long form, which is all 5 pages plus the certificate, so that's 6 total. So do be sure as you're leaving a clinic that you're collecting all of your paperwork and not just relying on them to take it wherever. Again, you still need it on your person for a DOT
Sure.
inspection, but I'm curious. To check on your status too, there's a lot of the DMVs. You can create a portal or your own account, and you can go in and check on it. So, if you're ever curious, probably be quicker than waiting on a phone line or going and standing in line is to create a portal on your DMV's website.
So a couple things I'm curious about.
Yeah.
One, you said self-certify. So in Louisiana and I believe in Ohio as well, when you turn your medical card in, you also turn in a separate sheet of paper that says, are you interstate, intrastate, exempt, or non-exempt?
Mm-hmm.
And those are your 4 choices, so you have to fill it out, right? Are they doing that at the DMV now? I mean,
don't know.
at the medical place?
Good
Or
question.
do you still have to go in
Good
and
question.
self-certify what you are?
Well, I
and
don't
then,
know.
And then if they do say no, they're gonna do that at the medical. We have had several teams over the years incorrectly not understand what they're saying or what they're
Doing
asking
intra-
for,
They're
enter.
so
so
confusing.
they put it in wrong, and then it has to be corrected. Again, it's a quick go to the may not be quick, but it's go to the DMV.
Especially if you're
sit there.
OTR.
Yeah, but a lot of times it is go to the DMV, sit there for a couple hours, get it done, and leave, and it's done pretty immediately. Is there a way to fix that now, or are you going to have to go to another clinic and get another DOT inspection done?
On your body?
Yeah. Oh, what's it called? Medical done? Are you going to have to go? Like, is there a process with the state where you can? Oh no, I told the wrong thing or what? Like, there's a lot of questions about
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. How's that going to work? I could see it going sideways.
So
I can see some positives though too.
Sure, if it is. So right now, when you email, fax, or mail your medical card in, they take it and then it literally has to go to a person who has to then enter all that information in. If it's going into a portal, then it can be set up where it instantly fills out all the information and then gets done immediately. So if it's something like that, that'll be great.
Right.
But if it's just really just being scanned in the system and then it's still waiting on someone on the back end to manually input it, that would suck. I can't imagine that's what they're doing, though. Can you, Jerry?
no.
I wouldn't think so.
If
I
you're
mean,
building something from the ground up?
it's just like the carb. I mean,
Yeah,
OTR Services. They do the carb test and it's immediately submitted to California.
But to
and
one
it's-
entity.
But it's to the entire state.
But when I did mine, all
I
I,
wanna
had to
follow
do
up on
was
Heather's.
go to a website that the DOT has set up through the state. So I didn't send an email. I didn't scan it. They gave you instructions. You upload PDF to their system. And when I called 3-4 days later, they're like, "No, it's here. It's updated. We just got to push the button that says yes, we got it." So I guess it's not updated, but they got it, and all they had to do was push a button. They didn't have to actually put it into the system. It was just in the system. They had to acknowledge they received it.
So when Eric and I, back in 1487, when we did our medical cards years ago, if you couldn't email it to Louisiana, you could fax it to Louisiana, or you could hard copy it, send it to Louisiana. So we did a hard copy with the self-cert forms, sent it in a couple weeks ahead of time, and so we knew it'd be good or whatever. Louisiana, you can easily pull up your medical card history. Anybody can, as long as you have your license. So I pulled it up. I was good. Eric wasn't. All right, that's fine. We'll just wait. I'm sure Eric will clear up any day now. Never did. They were in the same envelope. They never processed Eric's.
Oh.
So we got put out of service from our carrier because they knew that that's when his expired. So they logged online and pulled it, and it never was updated. So they put him out of service. We had to get a medical card. Oh, he had a copy of the medical card, so we just had to send it out real quick. And Louisiana said, if you fax it to us, we still take 7 days because it goes through a company that then actually looks at it, scans it, and sends it to us. If you want it to be immediate, you could overnight it to us, and as soon as we get it, the lady even said, call me at this number, and we will take care of it. We were in California, so it was really inconvenient. So we went to a UPS store, overnighted it to Louisiana, and then called the next morning and got this lady who then entered it in manually and got it processed quickly. But that was expensive. That was added on another like $75, $80
Yeah.
to our medical card thing. And they were in the same envelope.
Somebody
So-
probably didn't realize it.
Back to self-cert, I'm looking at the Texas Department of Public Safety. They have a kind of FAQ, and they're saying this applies to all CMV drivers requiring medical certification for interstate commerce, including those holding or applying for CDLs or CLPs permits, as well as those operating under applicable state variances for intrastate operations. So somehow they're getting that self-cert as part of this.
Okay.
I believe I did, like you said, you have to choose if you're interstate or whatever. I did that when I renewed my CDL. It didn't have anything to do with my medical card. And then once they had the updated medical card, like I already had a valid medical card on file, so they just
Yeah, I think my
said everything
intro
was good
was on
when
the
I
driver's
did my
license.
renewal of my driver's license. They didn't ask for any of that when I did send him my medical card.
I think it's tied to your license, not your DOT physical.
Yeah.
My question, which going back to Jerry's, okay, the carb testing that OTR Services is doing, it just uploads and it goes to California, but it's going to one entity. Like, yes, multiple people are doing it, but it's going to one entity. My question is if you live in Texas, but you do your DOT physical in Ohio, does Ohio have your DMV's information?
It's not going to your DMV, it's going to a federal registry.
And then the federal registry takes it to the DMV?
I think the DMV actually goes
Pulls
into the
it
registry
from the
and pulls
registry.
it. Yep.
So how do
'Cause they-
how do
'cause
they know you have a new one?
Well, they're
Because
getting,
when they pull the registry for new ones that are in Texas, it pulls down the ones from Texas.
yeah, your medical card has your CDL information on it.
Yeah.
So it's
So when they
seeing-
go to the national registry, somewhere in the brains of a computer system, it goes, these are all the Texas people, we're putting them in a queue. And then in the morning, the Texas DMV logs in and pulls all those people from across all 48 states that,
That's probably a
whatever's
very,
the
very
day before?
simplistic way of saying it,
Yeah.
but yes.
Yeah. They're
Okay.
probably not even pulling it. They're probably going online, looking, validating it's there, and updating the information. But there's no reason for them to move that data, that actual
Right.
PDF certificate to their database.
sure,
They could just leave it in the federal one
I get it.
as long as they know it's there.
I get
It's
it.
probably the search thing, like what you do. You just put in like your filters. Okay, I need state of Texas, or wherever.
Yeah.
For
I guess my question,
the month of May.
yeah. So my question on the DMV side is, are they getting a list of people whose med cards expired,
No.
and then they go on and they look for them? So they're getting notified somehow that someone from their state. Oh, that's my question.
No,
So how is
I
their
think,
state
I think
getting
what
notified?
happens is the registry gets everything that's loaded into it, and the state of Texas polls the registry for new Texas med cards, and they go in, and those med cards have driver's license numbers attached
Sure.
to them, and when the state says, "Oh, this driver's license number has been updated," they mark it as updated, and they go through and mark everything that's new as
So-
updated. And when yours pops up on their system as expired, so does your CDL.
Yes.
I think it's actually deleting a step because I think right now it's going to the states, and then the states are putting it in the system so that it can be seen by anybody in
Right.
the
Sure.
U.S. And now it's just going to be able to be seen by anybody in the U.S. It doesn't have to go to the state first to get it put into the database.
Got it. I think there's going to be a lot of confusion.
I don't think there will be.
I don't think so.
I hope it goes smoothly.
Yeah.
So I think there
And
are
it
states that
makes
are
it
doing it
simple.
already. I don't think there will be, but I think there could be some issues. Sure, a number gets entered incorrectly.
Sure.
You know,
The 14-day
Standard
wait,
errors.
that would be my biggest thing.
Not only that, a state doesn't, comply. Was that a record?
it sounded like it. Yeah.
Sorry.
We got we got DJ
DJ
I
Buttermilk
was trying
in the
to do your
house.
trick, but it's not working.
Pin drop.
I was thinking who's the is it Jazzy Jeff? The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah.
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh.
My apologies on
Oh, I'm
that.
sorry for going old school, Jerry.
Sorry. I thought I was being quiet over here, and
No.
I even held my eyes so it didn't clink.
I love it. So I do. What about states that what about states that just aren't compliant yet? Like if you remember, so the Real ID just became like
June 7th.
Right.
required.
May
is it
7th.
May 7th.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it just became required.
Yep.
So if you're at the time you're listening to this, it
It's
just became
come
required.
and gone. Yes.
So Real ID, they've been talking about it for like
Years.
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 And I remember Louisiana being one of the states because I was living there back then, where they said like, we don't have that technology yet, so you might want to consider a passport or something when that time comes because we don't have the technology for the Real ID.
Sure.
And it was like, oh no, like what are you gonna do? Then they rolled it out and said, if you are if you have a non-CDL, you're just a regular license holder, you can get Real ID, but if you're a CDL holder, you can't.
What?
Like it was such a slow rollout of Real ID, and now pretty much everybody has it, and it's you can get one with or without. But what if you have states that aren't compliant with this yet? I'm curious if we're going to see this come and go, and certain states are going to say, "Hey, you still have to send us a paper copy because we're not on that system yet."
I would not be surprised because this new rule was adopted in 2015. The compliance date was initially set for June 22nd of 2018,
wow.
Oh wow!
and here we are 7 years later. I'm sorry, it was then pushed to 2021, and now we're at 2025, and
They're ready.
they think they're ready.
Gee, you would think the DOT could help these places get the technology to be able to do it.
Yeah, that's not always easy. There are some states out there that are want to do things their way, and they don't like the federal government interfering in what they do. So I do get there's a philosophy. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm just saying I understand there's philosophies that don't necessarily allow for that. I think when you look at DMV websites and stuff like Ohio, I have become madly in love with Ohio's Bureau of Motor Vehicle Investigations online because you can do so much.
Yeah, you can.
It is.
Their portal.
I
And it's tied to other agencies.
yes. I
Within, like, your tax agency and this and that. It's all tied into this one Ohio portal.
yes. And for those of us that own business here, the way it integrates with workman's comp, the way it integrates with just a bunch of different stuff, it's a thing of beauty. It's 1997 graphics.
Secretary of
Yes,
State.
it is.
Secretary of State. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to think of earlier when I was talking about DMVs
Yeah.
and things.
The
Sorry.
Ohio Secretary of State website. Piece de resistance. But again, the graphics, 1997,
Yeah, it reminds
they
me
are.
of
Windows, not XP,
yeah,
older,
no,
older.
almost
DL
Oregon Trail
DOS?
Yeah,
It's-
like you
it's
have
really
dysentery.
old.
It's it's
Is it
better than
easy-
DOS.
Is it easy to navigate?
Yes.
Can you
Yes,
understand it at
it's-
first looking
it's-
at it?
Then who
It's easy,
cares
it's
Then
what
that's
the
all
pictures
that
are?
matters.
It's easy. It's clean. It's not very nice looking, but it is. It's better than C:\/ Oregon Trail .exe. Or not, it wasn't .exe, was it? It was .exe.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. So it's not that.
No, but it's
But-
a little archaic. But again, you can do your car registry and
Oh,
your
it's-
title
it's
renewal and your own DMV change of license or registration. You can do employment stuff. Maybe you were unemployed and wanted to look for employment. You could do your taxes.
They have a great job search engine on there.
It's got-
it's all. It's
Again,
yeah.
it's integrated. Anyway, that's what
So if you're
Ohio
looking
has.
for a
Yeah.
great government website, move to Ohio and you can use ours.
If you're looking for
So-
a pretty one,
Yeah.
Louisiana's website's beautiful. It's useless, but it's beautiful. They got the big, they got the picture of the Capitol building, the fleur de lis. They got the pelican for the flag. I mean, Louisiana's
current-
is
The current administration's picture on
yes,
it.
it is. Louisiana's website's the opposite. It's gorgeous. It is completely non-functional, but it is gorgeous. Thankfully,
the banner says Leslie Le Montaroux.
that's right.
I have a question about this. As a CDL holder, and for those of us that may be getting this done in the next 6 months, 9 months, are you going to be checking on your status yourself? Because I can see a lot of people just kind of doing it and now they don't have to take all these extra steps. For me, I would be a little cautious and just want to make sure things are, this is the way I roll though. I would want to make sure, and I know we all do it differently, but do we just let it be and it's all going to work out?
I think ultimately you go get your med card after June 23rd, and you just go to work and see if your carrier calls you and says, "Hey, where's your med card?"
No, let's not do that.
No, we
Let's not
shouldn't do it that
no.
way.
I think
I mean,
anyone
there's
that's
some due diligence
I
there.
think
Sure.
anyone that's in trucking, once you get into it, so like if you are on the precipice, you're like, I'm about to go to CDL school or I'm in the middle of CDL school or whatever, one thing you will quickly learn is that we're a very, very regulated industry.
Yes.
And because of that, there are lots of opportunities for things to go wrong. And so I think the longer you're in it, the more you try to be proactive.
Sure.
Sure.
So the
Sure.
longer you're in it, the more you have to make sure your medical card. Like, I know I just told y'all, getting my medical card a couple days before it's due. If I was actively driving a truck
Right.
as part of my job,
You would do
not
it
in
before you
it would already
left.
be
Yeah.
done. Not in a
Yeah.
million years. But that's not a critical function of my job. If I have to tell Chili, hey, these 3 days, still waiting on my medical card to come in, can't drive a truck today, still waiting on my medical card, can't drive a truck today, not the end of the world. And so I have that luxury. But back when I was driving a truck for my income, absolutely. Oh, 2 weeks before every time. We were like never to the last minute, always way ahead of time, because they don't care. I mean, like, depending on your state, if you get that sympathetic person on the phone like we did with Eric,
Right.
and we had a 1 day
Yeah.
delay and it cost us $80, cool. Like, at least it only cost us $80 in one
Yeah.
day.
Right.
But if you don't get that sympathetic person on the phone, and we've had this happen, I can think of several examples, especially in Texas, because Texas has been really strict about it, where we've had a team sit at home for a week and a half, 10 days,
14 days.
waiting on a freaking person to go click, it works.
Yep.
So, I mean, they don't care that you don't make any money,
No,
like zero income.
that's
during
not their
that time.
responsibility.
So,
Well, let's hope this makes it easier, right?
Yeah, let's do.
absolutely.
Let's hope it makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker.
absolutely. I would still say,
Yeah, follow up.
until we know what it really does, follow up,
Yeah.
A, and B, go a couple weeks early.
Yep.
Always at 14 days at a minimum.
Well,
Your a 2-year CDL is now a year and 11 months, in my opinion. 1 year is now good for 11 months. A 6-month is now good for 5 months. A 3-month, please go take care of your health. That's more important than driving a truck. But that's the way I look at it. So, again, after you get burned a couple times, that really sinks in.
It
Yeah.
But
does.
if you are new to the industry,
does.
if you haven't gone through the process yet, when you get your CDL immediately, before you get a CDL or learn from it, you have to have a medical card.
Yes, you do.
So if you're going to school on July 1st, by mid-July or mid-June, have that medical card. Make sure you've at least gotten that process
Yep.
started. So
Yep.
when this rolls out, I know we're still about a month away or so. When this rolls out, please let us know as you start upgrading your medical cards or experiencing
Yeah.
this. Let us know how it's going. I'm curious if it's going to be a slick process or not. My medical card, I didn't realize I knew it was June. I thought it was June 1st. I didn't realize it was June 23rd. So I'm actually going to do the old-fashioned thing.
I just did mine.
Mine, I'm going to go and get mine in paper copy and go straight to the DMV. So
Yeah.
I will not actually get to experience this. So we are very curious how it goes for y'all. Let us know and leave your comments in the box. We've had a lot of comments lately. I'm loving it. A lot of people are talking very much so about our next topic. And so we'll just roll right into that. But we appreciate your comments. We love seeing what you have to say
If
about
you
these different
Do
things.
leave your comment. Leave what state you're from, so we know what your comments are about for your state.
Absolutely. If you can leave your CDL number, your credit
No,
card
it's
number,
not
your
what I
social
want.
security. No, I'm kidding.
Just what state?
Just what state?
What state you maybe had great luck in?
What state you have your CDL in? 'Cause
Yes.
I know.
Not what state you did your DOT physical in.
Yeah, we do recognize some people where you live and where your CDL may not be the same place, or where you call home, I should say.
I guess we're wanting to track the DMV. stats.
Absolutely, absolutely. What that leads us into is what we talked about a couple weeks ago. Trump administration signed an executive order saying, well, I guess Donald Trump signed, not his
Right, yeah.
administration, but he signed an executive order saying the federal out of service criteria include English proficiency. So you have to be able to speak English to be a CDL holder or to be a CDL holder in the United States.
Right.
And if you cannot speak English, then are proficient enough English, then it used to be it was an offense, but it wasn't an out
It
of
wasn't
service.
out of service violation.
So you could continue going on, but your carrier would get dinged for it.
Right.
And he said, make it an out of service. So you put the truck down out of service if that happens. Just a week or so ago, the CVSA, which are the inspection people, that's Commercial Vehicles Safety Alliance Board, they are the ones that kind of dictate what the FMCSA does during a roadside inspection. They did just vote to agree to this and are making English proficiency violations grounds for truck drivers to be placed out of service. It's not surprising. You know, Trump kind of said, hey, this needs to happen, and I want this executive order saying we'll do it. And the Commercial Vehicle Safety Administration came and said, you know what, we actually agree with that, and have joined on as well. So the new out-of-service rule will become effective June 25th. So if you don't speak English, you probably can't hear what I'm saying, but but you have until June 25th.
And is it
to-
only speaking or is it speaking and writing?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think it's speaking and reading.
I only asked because I think Arkansas was both, wasn't it?
Yes,
So,
I believe it's. I don't know if it's writing as much reading. So I don't think they have to necessarily write, but I think they have to be able to read
So
English.
Read and
if I
speak.
can quote here,
You can't.
by
So
adding English language proficiency to the out-of-service criteria, a commercial motor vehicle inspector may place a driver out of service if they cannot demonstrate proficiency in reading and speaking English. That's a quote from the CVSA press
So
release.
reading, that's right, reading because we want to be able.
Yep.
Want you to be able to read
How-
signs.
How are they testing this?
We don't
They
know.
don't say that, do they?
So I-
is it just
so I did see.
that inspector's choice?
I did see it. No, I did see an article where they were talking about how they're doing it in Arkansas, and there is a state official criteria sheet of paper that has certain things on it.
So
and
it's kind of a checklist.
it's kind of a checklist. If you can read that piece of paper, you're good to go. So I'm sure what's going to happen is every CDL school and every motor carrier that works with non-English speaking people are going to
Make sure they can pass
make sure
it.
they can pass that. Yeah, but which makes sense. Again, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. You got to be able to know what the signs say, speed limit signs. You know what a runway ramps, all that stuff. Like there is a limited amount of English you need to know to be able to safely function. Now there's a higher standard that you need to be at to comfortably navigate truck stops and all the other stuff, but that's not what they're looking at. They're looking at core safety. And they're saying this is your bare minimums you need to be able to read. So that's why they had that piece of paper there. And then you have to be able to speak to an officer or someone else that's helping with safety, and that's the minimum they're
That's the
working on.
part I'm maybe not concerned about, but is that just their judgment as to how well they understand the person?
That's a good question.
Well, if there's a written test that the state does, then you pass that test.
But there's
It's a-
oral.
it's
No
it's re-
judgment.
It's a reading, so you
Or-
have to be able to read and speak.
Okay, and I'm
So-
worried about the different standards for different states.
Sure. I don't know.
Like Colorado's have different signs that maybe Nebraska won't.
Yeah.
I think you should know all of those.
Are you going?
though.
Are you,
Yeah, but you're testing in each state their own test at the station
yeah.
get what
as
you're
you
saying.
pass through it.
Like going to Massachusetts and they give you like Shakespeare to read, and then you have to explain what it
If
said.
you're going to Louisiana, it's in Cajun.
You go through Louisiana and Cajun. You go through Mississippi, and
So if
they're not
they
really
could
worried about the
make
reading
this,
part, but
a
So-
federal thing and come up with a federal.
You
You
all
need
have been
to
to
be able to do
Canada.
this to be all through the
Mhm.
48
Heather,
states.
you been to Canada?
Yes.
Canada,
in the, in
Canada.
the CMV. So my
Yes.
question is, were you worried about your? I know it's French, but I'm gonna say Canadian because I don't know what their signs are written in. Never been there
French.
myself.
French,
Depends
you
on
had it
where
right.
you're
So
at.
are you worried about that with your first load before you go in? Are you studying their guide? Like the shoe on the other foot here? Are you worried about that going into Canada? The four of you, because
So-
Vince and I did not go to Canada.
So I can say this on a couple different levels. So one, I want to say when Eric and I first went to Canada, we went to Winnipeg, which is just right in the middle of good old fashioned.
North of North Dakota.
Yeah, they're just Midwesterners. They're just, don't you know, you're so nice to see you, you know. So they don't. So that just felt like being in America. It just didn't. There's nothing about that felt
including
French
their
at all,
signage.
including their signage, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time,
Same thing with Alberta,
yep, the first time we went into
Ontario.
Ontario, that's when I was like nervous, and I knew going into it, I'm like, these people speak French,
Only French.
only French,
I mean, Quebec.
and
Ontario speaks English.
not Ontario,
Quebec.
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 Yeah,
Okay.
sorry,
Yeah.
I got confused too. Quebec is Toronto. I'm sorry, Quebec is Montreal. Ontario is Toronto.
Correct.
I gotta and Saskatoon is Saskatchewan,
And
and
Manitoba.
Lincoln is Nebraska. So Manitoba would be. Manitoba's Winnipeg, right?
That sounds right.
Isn't it?
Yeah. That's
That
the
sounds
west-
right.
Calgary's
Midwest.
Alberta.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whew.
Boy,
Now that we've done the capital,
Thank
the-
you.
for those who do Canada,
Then there's some northern territories no one cares about. So
okay. So when you're going
then
into
there's
these,
hold on, we got Prince Edward Island.
Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how it's easy
And then
to
you got
remember.
St. John. Okay. So
so you were going into the
the first time we're
French
going into
cities.
Quebec, and I knew it was a French-speaking culture, and then the signs and everything were Spanish in French. I was super nervous because, I grew up in South Louisiana, so I had to take French, but I don't remember any of it. So going there, I was super nervous. For me, enough of the French that I learned came back that I was able to slightly navigate. I mean, y'all kind of saw this when we went to Cozumel, or when we went to Argentina with you, or when we went to Mexico City.
Sure.
Like, enough Spanish starts to come back. Now, Chile has way more Spanish than I do, but enough Spanish comes back that I'm able to, work my way around. Same thing happened when we went to Quebec. Like, enough French came back where I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of vaguely remember this. I would not be able to talk to an officer in French, but they don't require you to.
No, I'm just asking.
So I didn't have that pressure,
Sure.
but enough it came back. So I am curious for someone like y'all that did not grow up in a French-speaking community. How did y'all feel about that?
I would say it's also a lot of their signs make sense because they put pictures on them.
They do.
Oh.
When you go to when you pass a way station, it literally has a truck sitting on a scale,
Oh, that's funny.
literally on the sign. You know it's a way station. Like all of their signage has a lot of pictures that go with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very true.
Well, and when we went, you have GPS. That still works.
Mhm.
So you kind of can match up what they're saying the sign says to what it looks like the sign says. And I think they have both English and French on a lot of the signs where we went.
Ontario has a
think it was
lot.
Ontario.
Ontario has a lot of French and English. Like Toronto is, they're like close enough that they speak French, but it's not really like the law of the land. Quebec is the one where it's like,
Yeah. Oh, they think that they're French from the French Canadian
We-
side.
And they don't have any drastically different driving like
it's very similar.
instruction.
Correct.
You're not driving
least
on the
it's
left
still-
side of the road
yeah.
like in Britain or something.
Sure.
Yeah. Now the way that and I'm curious, Jerry, because I know you're the only other person I know that's like this. I am curious because I did get experience of just being lost, of just I don't necessarily know what to do. Twice, once when I was in Italy, and once when I was in Portugal. So both times I was also with Jerry, who I was
Not
driving.
in a CMV.
Not in a CMV, thankfully, but the Italian government doesn't recognize my CDL. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to drive in Italy. Anyways, so anymore. So being in Italy and being in Portugal, like Portugal's all Portuguese, Italy's all Italian. There is no English subtitles. It's just this is what it is. And in those two countries, I felt like I remember being with other people in the car because both times there were a lot of us together, and both times it was like, what do y'all think we should do? And I'd like to sit here and tell you I was an amazing driver and I figured it all out and it was great. In Italy, I still don't know what the speed limit sign meant. Did you ever figure that out?
No.
No.
I
So,
got so many tickets.
oh my gosh, for the next like 6 months, I would just randomly get a ticket in the mail.
What they look like.
Like,
So they had
the thing-
cameras?
so
The thing-
there,
that's what I was
there's
about to say.
circles with
Uh-huh.
numbers, and there's
Uh-huh.
circles with numbers and lines through them, but then there's different colors, and sometimes they're on top of each other, and sometimes they're side by side. And
some Montana speed limit
I-
signs.
I have
Similar
no.
and not similar to Germany.
Yeah, so some are minimums and some are maximums,
Right.
and some are recommended,
And all
and
our
some
kilometers.
apply. And some apply
Certain
during
hours of the day.
certain hours of the day,
Like-
and
Montana has
Oh.
nighttime speeds
Uh,
for CMV.
it was a nightmare. So I
Yeah.
Did
take
you just stay 45 the whole time?
No, but I take that experience and I go, if I was a CDL holder in this country and I was driving a truck professionally here, I would have to take some Italian or I'd take some Portuguese to understand
Give me
what
the
to do.
cheat sheet
You would
card.
have-
Yes,
the,
because I
um,
and we were only going from like major city to major city. We'd park and basically walk around the entire cities, but that's because those cities are walkable. And then we would, a couple days later, get in the car, drive to another city, park it, be there for a few days or whatever. And even then, it was just so hard to navigate. So I can imagine if you speak only French or you speak only Spanish and you come here and you speak nothing of English, it would just be daunting.
Sure.
Because I experienced it, and then Jerry, you did the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So the
Right.
FMCSA, our CVSA is actually doing something to work on that.
Oh.
So in the same article, there's a quote from the CVSA saying the CVSA will also send a petition to the FMCSA requesting that the agency harmonize the commercial driver's license English language requirements in 49 CFR Part 383, quote, commercial driver's license standards, end quote, with those in 49 CFR Part 391, quote, qualifications of drivers and longer combination vehicle driver's instructions, end quote, so that the standards are consistent.
That's good.
So they're looking to make those standards consistent across the board
Yeah.
and not just
One
subjective.
each individual state.
Look,
Right,
I-
exactly.
The CVSA gets a lot of heat, right? They are the people that put you out of service. They are the ones that give the inspectors the authority to do all that stuff. They are the reason why if you have a tire that's a little low on air pressure or if you have a tire that is not quite to tread depth, they will put you out of service. They are that's them. Like the roadside inspections that you see are all CVSA roadside inspection blitzes. So they get a lot of slack and a lot of people don't like them. But I do genuinely feel like they are, I'm going to say 100%, but 98% out for vehicle safety. That's all
Yeah.
they care
Sure.
about.
I've
And
always felt that.
it doesn't feel like they're pushing an agenda. It just feels like we just want the roads safer. And they are pro driver in the sense of, like you're talking about, we want consistency.
Right.
We want to make sure people can have a living here. We just want you to do it safely.
Sure.
So I really appreciate that they are doing that. And I did not catch that in that article. Thank you.
I think, yeah, it's like anything like you were talking about different states. We don't have falling rock signs in Nebraska, but when I saw one when I was driving through California or Arizona, I knew what it meant.
Yes.
So,
But in America, like all of our way station signs are just labeled way station.
hmm
And you never know what to do when you pull into one.
They're
'cause
all
every
different.
state's
Even-
Every
different.
state's different.
And within
Even-
the
even-
same state,
It's
they're
by,
even different.
but you have to understand it's bypass when flashing, unless it's closed when flashing. Unless
Louisiana.
it's
Whenever in doubt, pull
Louisiana,
in.
go in when we're not flashing.
When in doubt, pull in.
or pull in, but the transponder in your truck says don't pull in. Even better, the transponder in your truck says pull in. The sign says don't pull in.
We're closed.
I pull in.
Or
anytime there's a conflict, I pull.
Or
I
just
always pull
pull in and pulling up to the scale and like, do you slowly roll across? Do
Right.
you come
yes,
to a stop?
complete
Oh,
stop.
I never know that.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
if
And
they
then what's
You
the
have the
speed going
arrows
across?
above.
Because some of them other trucks are going quick, but I'm like, but I think it's at 5 miles.
and
Well,
you
And I'm
don't
and
like
I-
watching my miles per hour gauge.
you don't want to slam on that brake because if they do stop you on the scale, you know you're going to sit there and rock,
Right.
and then
Yes.
they're going to hold you
Exactly.
there forever
Yep.
until you stop
Until you
moving.
stop.
And
Yep. Yep.
And then they're going to come on and talk to you if you do that, too.
oh yeah,
I didn't
Yes.
have that many issues, you guys.
And then rolling. Which window do you roll down? Because some have the speaker on the left.
I roll
some
them
have the
both
speaker
down.
on the right.
I roll
Sure.
them both down.
Yeah.
My headset came off. I roll both windows down.
My headset came
yes.
off every time. As
Oh,
soon as
yeah.
I
Every
saw
time.
that, it came
Yep.
off immediately.
Mine always came
I'm
off at the way station sign.
I'm
That's
going-
yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm
Like,
going
Long
to a way
before.
station, Mom. I'll call you back.
yep,
yep.
yep,
Yep.
yep. I've
Turn
had
the podcast
I've
off.
had
all of
I've
that.
had
Exactly.
I
people.
didn't even know they yelled at you until like I was driving for over a year.
Oh yeah, I've had people that like they've been just chatty, and I'm not gonna say they are from Georgia, and I've put them down, gone through a way station,
Yep.
and then
Come
once I
back.
got clear, put the headset back on,
They're still talking.
and they're still talking. They never knew. I have no idea what they said during that time. But we all have those people, right?
There
Me
was
too,
one in
yes.
Washington, way station, and I'm prepared, and nothing, and there's the exit. So I take it. It's literally maybe 200 feet of off and on, and it's dilapidated, just a little bigger than an outhouse building. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This thing hasn't been operational in years, probably 20 years. They can't put a closed. They
Oh,
can't
yeah.
take down the sign that says way station. It was clearly a waste of my night.
They don't.
I still drove through,
Well-
and I had to do it on the way back on the other side.
Texas.
Oh,
Texas
yeah.
has the little
Oh,
pull-offs,
Yeah.
and they'll just randomly show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw their sign out.
Yep.
I
And
got-
they're
I
like,
got
"Hey,
stopped
we're
at one of those
testing."
one time.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Mobile
it's
scales.
Yep.
or no scales at all. I got passed by one time. The guy pulls up, has me stop.
Mhm.
He walks over there. I see in my mirrors two officers go on either side. They open up my fuel cap while I'm talking to this officer. They shine their light in there. They put the fuel cap back on. They give the guy a thumbs up, and then he's like, "All right, man, good to see you," or have safe
Yeah.
drive or
Just
whatever.
checking to make sure you're not running
He's not.
agricultural fuel.
Yes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I never would have thought in a million years they
Yeah.
would actually check that. But sure enough, they're making sure they didn't have no red dye in
Remain
there.
crew.
But it was very clear. You have to get off here.
Yes.
You have to stop
Yep.
here. You got to wait for this.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
give the thumbs up. You're good to go.
Well, so a lot of my long distance driving nowadays are in trucks that are either going in for like what we call heavy maintenance. So like I'll bring a truck to AA trucks in Fort Worth. It's a big like they do a lot of, when I say heavy duty retrofit, I do mean like it's going to be down there for a month.
It's a remodel.
It's a remodel,
Yeah.
or sometimes not a remodel, but it's a large scope of work, and so it's going to be there for at least a month, sometimes 2-3 months. And then I will, which is fun because sometimes I'll get pictures from our drivers of like, hey, I noticed our truck's in here, and here's what it looks like or
Yeah.
whatever. But so that's typically and that's over 1,000 miles, and so a lot of times when I'm doing those runs, we don't have transponders in the trucks because they're not running freight. There's no reason to have them. It's not a tollway the whole way down.
Right.
So they don't have transponders, or if they do, they don't work, or they're not assigned, or once a truck's been sitting for so long, you have to resubmit that information, yada, yada. So I typically don't have transponders, so I'm typically dealing with way stations.
Paying attention.
And can I tell you how much it's like you drive past the way station, and the sign says, like, truck cleared to bypass, and then, like, when you're next to it, it says, truck must pull in, and you're
Mhm.
like,
changes that fast. Yeah.
Who's that for?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if that's me or the next person or whatever.
Yeah.
My favorite is you pulling up to a way station that says closed, and right before you pass the sign, it says open. 100% of those have been closed for me. I don't know if that's proper or not.
I saw a closed officer.
I saw a closed officer. I will.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, if it's clearly open, I'm pulling in.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But if it
Of course.
flips right as it's
Literally,
right,
like, right there.
here,
Mhm.
that's closed. Yeah. Or my favorite. I love this one too. You ever see the big signs where it's like truck's okay to bypass it once the line's here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
California does that.
And then
I believe.
there'll be like
Yeah.
5 more trucks past it,
Right.
still in line,
Uh-huh.
and then being able to go past all those people who are like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
So
know,
like North Carolina, the way they do that is they actually have sensors. So whenever the trucks do hit that, it'll automatically flip the sign
Yes.
to close.
California does that too, but there are those states that have the sign, do not block interstate
Yeah,
or
something like that,
Yeah, it's I hear you saying it's different in every state, and even within states they're different.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
and some of those weight stations don't give you a whole lot of information or
No.
a whole lot of a
Nothing.
gap.
Anything.
So we've had teams get in trouble because they were passing an 18-wheeler and saw the sign, and then the exit's right there,
Yeah,
and they
couldn't
didn't
get
have
over
it.
soon enough.
They couldn't get over soon enough,
Yeah.
and the cop did come and pull them over and give them a ticket for bypassing a way station when they weren't supposed to.
I got stopped in Arizona because I went through the way station I had the green light.
Yeah.
Going through Arizona, and the Arizona does you have to remain in the right lane until you're completely past the way station.
Yes.
And I moved over to the left lane. Like I was past the way station, but not far enough to where the markings were. And when I moved over too soon, he came out and got me.
Yeah.
It was a warning, but still.
Wow. That seems a little nitpicky.
Wow.
I think it's because he explained it to me that they're doing visual inspections on the truck as you pass by, even though you're getting a green light. They're sitting there
Right.
looking at all
They're
these
still looking
trucks,
at you.
and so he was still looking at me and just yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun world out there. So if you're considering being a truck driver,
Always go in if you're unsure. Always, always, always.
and if you're placarded,
yes,
forget about what your sign says.
Yeah.
Always pull in.
Always,
Yeah.
especially in
Always.
Ohio.
Especially
yeah.
in Ohio.
Yep.
especially in Ohio.
Yeah.
Yep. Pull in. It is not worth it. You never get in trouble for pulling in when you're not supposed to.
No, you will not.
But the opposite
Yep.
can be true.
Always.
I like
So-
the ones that have the lights above too, where you have to go in and then it'll give you
Pick
the
an
green
arrow and then
to
pick an arrow to go
bypass.
here.
Yes.
Feels like
Yeah.
choose your own adventure.
Yeah, right?
I don't like the ones that wait to the last minute, so you're like
Yeah.
really up on the steering wheel looking. It's like, okay, I'm going left.
I don't know that you and Eric were ever on the road when the new one in Arizona opened up, the one right
No,
across
they
the
weren't.
border. So literally, you exit and you go down and you go down and you go down, I don't know, half a freaking mile, and then you make a right, and then you go up, and then you come back the half mile and the
Oh,
half
wow.
mile. This is all in their property too, in the half mile, and then you loop back around, and then maybe you go a quarter of a mile, and then you go across the way station, and
It's
you're
like a
like,
snake. It's
are
the
you
stupid
like,
snakes
and
that
it's
do
got
that.
all
Block
this
the
lovely
interstate.
parking. It's a brand new facility. They opened it at least
Is
by.
it on 10?
It's on I-10, just across California
Okay,
border.
I was gonna say
coming-
because
Yeah.
I
Is
coming,
it 10 or
east.
40? I thought it was
10.
40. At any
I-
rate,
I
it's
drove
ridiculous.
40. I drove 40. No, I didn't because I went up through King or through I went up through
Utah.
Sneaky Pete's. What's it called?
You did bail, didn't you?
Isn't it? What's it? Is it Sneaky Pete's
15?
or
You went,
or,
up, you went up 15.
You know the old. I went up 15.
Whiskey Pete's.
Whiskey Pete's. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Whiskey Pete's and the
Vegas
other one.
in Nevada.
They
Yeah.
opened that one mid-time of our 3 years out there.
Okay.
And when they finally opened it, because we did go out there an awful lot, and it's the first way station across the state line, and I was like, are you kidding me?
You know what?
All
I've,
you're
that
going
the
to do is
one-
just wave me through. 20 minutes later, and you're finally going through.
Oh,
Talking
no,
about the one with like the Texas service roads going from Vegas to LA.
no, but that one. So that
That's
one.
a new one. It's like 5 miles
Did
of service road.
Did we ever drive it?
I
I don't-
remember going in.
I don't think we ever drove it. We watched them build it. It's the one that's out there by the solar plants.
Oh, yeah.
going
were
from
they-
Vegas to LA.
So have you ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're driving from Vegas to LA on 15, you know there's those right on the border. There's these giant mirror facilities,
Right.
and they go up to a tower.
Yep.
And I don't know if you know or not. They are literally melting salt.
Salt, yeah.
They
They're-
are salt, like you put on a pasta or your French fries, or whatever.
Yeah.
They are taking that salt. They are heating it so hot that it melts, and that is what they are powering these turbines and stuff with
They're
to
shutting
run
those
these
off.
plants. I saw that.
Yeah.
Did you see the number of like birds and stuff they've killed over the years?
Yeah,
Oh,
lots.
you know,
Lots.
look, I'm all for green energy, but sometimes you have a swing and a miss, and that was a miss. But I saw them build that. It's funny that like environmental thing next to 7 miles of unnecessary concrete. And if you don't know,
And,
concrete's one of the biggest. Like to make concrete, it's one of the biggest carbon emitters of anything we do as a race.
if you're going
our species.
southwest, it's in Prim, Nevada, right before the state line. You
Prim.
Yes.
Yes.
When you cross the line, you look left going towards LA. There's 3 of them.
Yes, and then there's this huge way station, and then you go past that a little bit, and there's an agricultural station, and all the stuff to get into California. Yeah. No, we watched them build that way station. We never had to stop there, though. I don't think they've rebuilt the one, and if you have, please let us know if you know better, but I don't think they rebuilt the one on, is it the Grapevine?
Yeah.
The Grapevine's the one that burned to the ground, right?
Oh, I don't know. We've been through that one a few times.
What interstate's Grapevine?
I-5.
No, not Grapevine. I'm talking 15 or 40. Comes into Ontario.
15 comes into Ontario.
So
No, well,
15
I-10 comes to Ontario also.
Yes, but going north,
Okay, it's 15.
it's 15. There's
Yeah.
a giant pass,
right.
and there was a way station there, and there was a fire that happened several years ago and burned the way station down. You don't remember this? Oh, it was great. I was so happy.
Yeah, no, you
Tell us how you really feel
That
about
little,
waste
I always
stations.
used to say from like Barstow, not really Barstow. So if you go up the 15, there's a Pilot, and a couple exits down later is a Love's. Is that Barstow?
That's Barstow.
Okay,
It's Barstow.
so from Barstow into LA, any morning at between like 5 and 8 a.m. in the morning, that mountain pass is a
Oh, yeah, it's
Formula.
backed up.
No, it's a Formula One racetrack.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
Oh.
No,
That-
because you have everybody coming from Apple Valley, Hesperia, Victorville coming into Los Angeles. Oh, it's stopped. And that early in the morning, because everybody's traveling so far, it's stopped.
Do you not remember racing down that mountain?
Yeah.
Oh
but
my gosh! I mean, I'd be going
Fast.
55.
around the legal limit,
Right.
and I
of
would
course.
get past. Like I was
Oh,
going
yeah.
still.
Oh, sure.
Like it was so busy every. Maybe it was earlier. Maybe I'm just
Could be
missing.
earlier.
Could be like 4 o'clock in the morning, and it would just be
I'll give you 4.
just trucks just with their exhaust
Mm-hmm.
brakes, wow, wow, like passing me every morning. It was like, oh my! Every time, because we did a lot of work back then in that area, and it was like, holy cow! Every time I went down that road,
Yeah.
it was always like, this is a Formula One track, just right into Los Angeles. It's a beautiful drive too. I love going down that. Not once you get to Ontario, it sucks, but going down that pass
Yeah,
through
I
that.
think that's the Cajon Pass.
Oh yeah, Cajon. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, through Cajon Pass, it's gorgeous. I
Yeah.
love the scenery. It actually is a fun drive. If you like
Oh, sure.
driving,
If you like driving,
it's
it's a
very
fun
curvy.
drive.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember driving that many times, being like, "Oh, this is sketchy."
Yeah.
But no, that's where the fire happened, and it burned the way station to the ground. I don't think it's reopened, but I am very
I don't
curious
think
if it
so.
is
Southbound or
I don't think we get
northbound?
it.
southbound.
I don't think there is one there southbound anymore.
Yeah, there used to be when Eric and I drove back in the early 40s before the
I
war.
could be wrong.
The early
I
40s
certainly could
before
be
the
wrong.
war.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing one anytime we went through there.
Jerry,
Hmm.
you remember, don't you? It was like a little tiny building, and they pull you over, and
My memory's not that good. Sorry.
Ah.
I believe that. I do believe that.
I bet you can remember the way station in North Carolina
Oh,
or South Carolina.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
I lived there many years. So
yeah.
They're just all different. Just beware.
You know what we do? We need to do. We need to get an update on how 40's doing through that area.
I heard recently that it is back open. It's 1 lane, but it's back open.
I did hear that it was 1 lane as well,
Really?
but I am curious.
Which direction? What do you take turns?
No, it's
One lane each side.
Oh, one lane.
Yeah.
Geez.
like
Oh.
they got one
One-
2-lane section, and then they just put K rails down the middle, and
Got it.
Yeah.
That was. I'm like, what are we doing? The red light. You take turns.
oh,
and then
can
the
you?
red.
No, that would be
Wow.
a nightmare.
At least
That
you're
would
still
be
getting traffic through.
awful.
Local
Yeah.
traffic,
Yeah.
local at that point.
Well, no, I'm very curious what they end up doing because it's some interesting terrain. It's going to end up being super expensive when it's all said and done, fixing all that. But I think that's all the time we have for this week. It's been a lot of fun. Stay tuned. In a couple weeks, we're going to come back. We are going to continue the Hyfield saga. I don't know what you call it.
Hyfield history.
Hyfield history. We're going to talk about Detroit Diesel and how that factors into what we do, why we do what we do. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of that company and how it relates to not only what we do now with it and with Freightliner and Western Star, but also some competition and a little bit of days of our lives
Cool.
of what family used to be entangled with what family and no longer is. And
Yeah.
some good
Hey,
drama.
now.
So we'll talk about that in a couple weeks. In the meantime, if you are interested in contacting us and seeing what it is we have to offer, what we're doing, you can feel free to reach out to us at
hyfieldtrucking.com. Chat.
The outerbuiltpodcast@gmail.com.
or
833 Hyfield. 833-493-4353. Option 1. Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time.
and if you want to see us on the website, you can go to.
hyfieldtrucking.com.
And what can they do there?
You can chat with one of our recruiters. You can get tons of information on what we do over here at Hyfield, the carriers we run with.
You can submit a form and a recruiter will call you back.
You can check out pictures of these trucks. We talk about how we have these custom sleeper trucks and everything. What does that really mean? We've got a nice gallery there. We ever expanding gallery. We got
There's a lot of information.
some new features that are coming up soon if they're not already there. I don't know, but it's a really cool website. It's developing. It's growing along with us. It is much nicer looking than the Ohio State website. But if you want to reach us on this show directly and you want to say, hey, we want to comment on something you said, or we want you to talk about fill in the blank, you can drop us a comment right here, or you can email us at.
I don't know the email address.
You literally just said it.
The outerbuiltpodcast@gmail.com.
Also known as.
The outerbuiltpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, all this information is going to be down in the description. So check us out there. If you're listening to us on a podcast, you would just have to remember one of these things.
All the same information is in the description of the podcast.
There it is. If you listen to us on a podcast, no matter what platform you're on, shoot us a review. Let us talk about what we're doing. It helps us get more viewers and more listeners, and we appreciate that. And thank y'all so much for everything y'all do. Until we see each other next time, stay safe, make good decisions.
The outerbuiltpodcast@gmail.com. Don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a-turning.
Alrighty.
Good night.
Bye.
Till next time.
Until we meet again.